I'm Dr. Cynthia Lee Smith, and I am an anti-racism, anti-white supremacy essayist and educator. And I use and I dissect terminology used in a racialized country such as the United States of America, which is my focus. In order to navigate the language system of racism and white supremacy, you need three tools. And the three tools that I employ are comprehension, context, and connotation. This is important because a lot of just about every word that we use in the English language lexicon can also be associated with and has a correlation within the ideology of white supremacy and racism. And unless we employ these tools and unless we put on what I call your white supremacist lenses so that you can see clearly the way that words are racialized and used, some to create euphemisms, some to create dog whistles, depending on the audience. It's important. Otherwise, you don't understand, and it just creates confusion, which brings me to today's topic, color confusion. Examining why color assignments and skin pigments are different. Now, I bet you didn't even really ever think about that, and that's part of what I do. I endeavor to make you think about the things that you would not ordinarily consider. So as you listen, I want you to put on your critical thinking caps and your white supremacist lenses and employ the tools, comprehension, context, and connotation as we go further. Black people have been in a perpetual argument for decades with some white scholars and others over their virtual theft of Africa, their claims of its northern African regions, and particularly Egypt as white. In fact, there are many Black Americans today who think that the enslaved from Africa to America literally came from Egypt itself. Indeed, Egypt, or its other name, Kemet, whose literal meaning is black land, with its kings and queens in antiquity, have come to mean the epitome of blackness as a state of being and supreme birthright among Africa's formerly enslaved American descendants, evoking dreams of Africa in all its splendor, Africa's wealth of stolen resources, and the dissection of its lands and territory in service to white supremacy. And why not? Egypt is African, and the pigments of its people from before Christ were non-white. As that term, that description of pigmentation can and is described today. But debates and arguments will continue to rage as long as white people claim Egypt and certain other northern African and Middle Eastern regions are white, despite the overarching pigmentation of its people. In a nation, and indeed a world, so fixated on whether pigmentation represents white or black, one could drive himself, herself, or themselves insane trying to find any rationality between pigmentation and the assignment of these colors with regard to so-called actual skin color. In my book, White Supremacy in the Post-Racial Colorblind Era, I explained there are several references available to describe the races of humans, even articles describing the differences between race and color. It all sounds very scientific and at this point in history, rather matter of fact. Why? Because it is understood that races exist, even as they are not supposed to. The term, however, exists and has been successfully applied to all humanity. It is understood that there are colors within the races, and even within the races, that the colors of skin can vary significantly. It is also evident that the color alone is not an accurate measurement for the race of an individual. Although having no truly accurate measurement for race has no consequence, it was determined long ago that the offspring of black and white parents were forever to be construed as black, using the generations-old one-drop rule and the race of the mother. For example, Archie, the offspring of Meghan and Prince Harry of Britain, will always be considered black, despite the fact that he has the same pigmentation of his father. His mother, Meghan, as lightly pigmented as Harry, is also considered black because of her mother's race as well. Now, what people need to understand is that white and black are assignments of color. Let me repeat that. Black and white are assignments of color. Pay attention to the word assignment of color. They are simply positions applied to the bodies of humans from generations ago to categorize humanity under a formula for light and dark, good and evil, thousands of years in the making. This is the key to understanding color assignment and association of, here's another important word, value. The association of value within the ideology of white supremacy. Since the colors black and white were literally assigned to human bodies and are continually and consistently assigned whether pigmentation dictates or not. For an example of assignment of color and value outside of the realm of white supremacy and race, think red state, blue state. Is Arizona the color red? No. Is California actually the color blue? No. But these colors were assigned to the states to distinguish right or left ideologies, to position them politically as Republican and Democrat, and even as white offense or black defense, used either as dog whistles for overt supremacists and racists or euphemisms for the comfort of white people in general. Now consider, is your skin actually white? Is your skin actually black? No. But the assignment of these two colors are responsible for the creation of an entire hierarchy of supreme sovereignty of white and the subordination and inferiority of black. Also, consider for a moment that thousands of years ago, the colors black and white, terms which connote everything we have come to understand as good and evil, brilliant and morose, existed in terms of their value long before they were assigned to the bodies of humanity. Are you thinking? Are you thinking? These colors were used because of their inherent positive and negative value, and because they were convenient and expedient to distinguish humanity in such terms during the enslavement, to create the ideology of superiority, inferiority, and a caste structure specific to the enslaved on the basis of colors already fixed in the mind in terms of their superior and inferior attributes. Are you thinking? Now, for an even better understanding of how the assignment of color is used in the U.S. post-enslavement and for purposes of immigration, take these Northern African and Middle Eastern countries, for example. People from these regions are considered white. Yeah, they are. And in the body of the written essay, you will see the link to the census, where you can go in and look at what is represented as per the census as white. No matter how dark the skin, they are considered white people in the United States. It is only when a darker complexion hits the United States as a body does scrutiny begin, unless, of course, that person can prove citizenship within those regions. This is because the United States, through its census, dictates the assignment of the color white for human beings. Think about it. In much the same way that the colors red and blue are now assigned to the individual states within the nation today. Colors are assigned for distinction. This has also created sort of color confusion, which we are in today, and why dark-skinned people from these regions may still be treated unfairly, discriminated against, mistreated, or violated in some way in America. The preponderance of ordinary white people in this country simply do not understand, and I would dare say not many people of either race really understand the real nature of white and black color assignment, or why these particular colors were assigned and applied within the ideology of white supremacy in the first place. Because time isn't taken to think critically about that association of what? Value. They only understand the most rudimentary view of race as color and its connotations of dark and light and black and white. Because of that, many white people lean into the negative behaviors they've been accustomed to for generations. Since the first wealthy gentry began to encourage animosity against black people back in the early years of the colonies, and the first laws were enacted eliminating the right of black people to defend themselves against the newly assigned white colored people. Dig deeply into the value of the black-white binary outside of the ideology of white supremacy, and the answer will be clear why the colors were eventually assigned to the bodies of humanity, and why it is almost impossible to separate this assignment from its value today. Imagine, now I need you to really think clearly. If you need a woosah moment, take a woosah moment and pause me. But then come back and imagine having to take all you have learned and been conditioned about the colors black and white and the value associated with them over thousands of years, and virtually having to wipe them away, having to wipe them out of your mind. Everything you thought about black and everything you thought about white in terms of their value. If you're not sure, pick up a thesaurus or get online and look up the term white and its synonyms and black and its synonyms. And you will be surprised. Because it's not just good and bad, good and evil, light and dark. Oh boy. Homework assignment. Look up the synonyms for black and the synonyms for white. All right? Because those are the values associated with the words. Okay? And these values exist and are fixed outside of any notion of race, racist color, racist character, white supremacy, or racism. So just imagine having to take all you've learned and been conditioned about these colors, black and white, and the value associated with them, especially having nothing to do with an association with skin. Now also think about if you don't believe removing the literal color assignment of white and black wasn't actually attempted, if you don't believe that it was actually attempted, think again, because it was tried. And that was what became what I coined the post-racial colorblind era, when the term white literally disappeared from the lexicon and was replaced with the terms normal, neutral, natural, and mainstream. For over 50 years, the white and black binary was hidden by euphemisms, dog whistles, and all those behaviors and terms that were considered being politically correct. And of course, it didn't work, which is why we find ourselves where we are today. Many of us confused and consistently misled by the forces that would just as soon keep us that way. See, white supremacy dictates the assignment of the black-white binary. The only reason why skin was used to imply its value was because skin was the most expedient, especially in the newly formed colonies, where the threat of continued uprising among the poor class caste, of which the enslaved were included at the time, with the white indentured servants, and because there was that threat of continued uprising among this caste after Bacon's rebellion, the newer distinction was created. It is important to recognize how color confusion is manifested and to find the keys to unlocking that confusion. There are clues in understanding the difference between color assignment and pigmentation in this country. These clues are inside of the words assignment, value, and another term that I discuss in other essays and also in my book, whiteness as a state of being. Begin to ask yourself critical questions about each of these words, these terms, and you will eventually find discernment and understanding within them. I thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to this essay, and I hope that you will visit me on my website, www.calise-writer.com, or visit me on Facebook at C.Elise Smith. Visit my Medium presence and follow me on Medium, Cynthia Elise Smith, EDD, where I write for the Baldwin for Medium. And you can email me at calismithedd@gmail.com for more information. For now, thank you very much. Follow and share. Help me grow my YouTube presence. And thank you. Bye-bye.